3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, back for episode number 18, I think. So I assume that's 18 after 17 would make sense. So in this episode, it's probably a bit of a confrontational topic. But the topic of this episode is don't start a dropshipping business. So Chris
So
and
everyone
I
that has a dropshipping business can stop watching
watch.
immediately.
Stop watching immediately. So
If you don't want to be put off or triggered, if you don't want to get triggered, don't watch this episode.
Everybody's triggered by everything these days. Hey, so yeah. So I've been speaking to a lot of potential clients this week and people in our Shopify community as well. And there's a trend that's it's popping up, every 8 out of 10 people, right? And they're like, oh, my business is not going anywhere. It's not working. I've been going for a year. I'm not making any money. I've wasted 100 grand, like blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what do you do? And they're like, well, I buy this stuff from like Alibaba, or I buy this stuff from eBay, or I buy this stuff from supplier, and they ship, which are my customers. And I'm like, cool, what problem are you having? I go, it takes like 4 weeks to 6 weeks to get to the customer. I'm like, yep. And then they're like, we don't make money when we do it. I'm like, yep. Customers are getting shitty with us because they're big forever. And then we kind of, we can't compete on price because there's like 647 other people selling the same stuff that we're selling as well. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, we're getting a return on our ad spend of like -3 because, we spend $1,000 and make like losses, literally because there's, again, not enough profit. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, so you're running a dropshipping business, right? And you're pretty much competing in what we call a red ocean that's just full of blood, and there's too many people in it, and there's no profit margin, and you have nothing unique about your products. And, like, basically people can buy whatever they want to buy from you anywhere. And they're like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, so can you help me? I'm like, yeah, just stop running your dropship business. And I'm like, oh, it's not really what I had in mind. I'm like, well, you have the choice, right? You come to work every day and you spend 8 hours of your life, selling a product that you've made or designed or made or found, or you've got some kind of exclusivity on it, and you've got a 60, 70, 80% margin, and the product's not going to end up in the rubbish bin tomorrow because it's rubbish, because it's come from some $2 factory out of China. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, and then you do that, and then you can actually make a bit of a business that's got longevity. And because it's your product, and because it's, you've built it, you've designed it, you've made it. Yeah, sure, someone can copy you, but at least you're going to get like 6 to 12 to 18 months out of selling that product, and actually going to make some money. And they're like, oh, but there's a bit of risk involved in that, right? I'm like, well, there's a bit of risk involved in spending a year of your life and doing 8 hours a day and selling rubbish from China, and your business
Losing
can get
money
wiped out every month. Like, oh no, there's not. There's only the there's no financial risk associated with that. I'm like, yeah, but what about things such as you don't get to see your kids anymore, you don't get to talk to your wife, you don't get to see your friends because all you do is working, and you're just selling rubbish, and all you end up doing, you get to the end of every quarter, your ATO person, or your keeper comes knocking on your door, or the ATO man knocks on your door. It's like, hey, by the way, you owe us 50 grand for GST, and you owe us money for PAYG for your staff and soup bar and blah blah blah. And you're like, oh, holy crap, I sold all that stuff, and yeah, lots of revenue, and I didn't realize that I'm basically just running a business collecting cash for the government. And I'm like, yes, that's basically exactly what you're doing. So it's an interesting model, and one that I highly advise people that, especially if you don't have really solid connections into really solid manufacturers and suppliers, that I would highly advise you against actually doing it. So look, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that do it very, very well, but the difference between what they've got and what you've probably got is they know how to negotiate deals really good. They can actually get really good margin. Their drop shippers might literally be like next door to them. They might be in the same suburb, so they can drive there and help their supplier ship the products if need be. Like I run dropshipping business in my previous business, right? Half of it was dropship, half of it wasn't. but it's always a headache, prices fluctuating up and down by the minute, they ship your order because they've got 500 other orders to ship for another customer. And you're like, oh, but like your expectations are not being met doing that as well. So to get to my point, like, because you don't have control over the pricing and the product and the shipping and the logistics and the warehousing and blah, 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 it's such a really hard business to get right. And honestly, like of the 100 people I speak to a month about who are doing dropshipping business, 2 of them will get it, and it takes them 6, 12, 18 months to get it right. So if you're going to get into the e-commerce space, I highly recommend, like I said, go and watch our other episodes. One, how to pick a winning product, how to do your marketing, how to do your SEO, how to do blah, 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 but based all that on having a really good product that you actually have sitting in your warehouse or sitting in Amazon or blah, 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 instead of just, drop shipping from these, wherever, here, there, and everywhere kind of thing. So any thoughts? That's a bit of sorry for everyone watching. People are going to be like, but I run a dropshipping business and I make like $5,000 a month and it's great. Like, happy days, mate. Good for you. But
you're the 2%. So talk about that 2%. What are they doing? Where does this work? I guess just to give a bit of salvation for those that are that maybe have a dropshipping business that's borderline and could be successful. What do you think, other than scrapping it all together? If you're triaging money every month and there's no profit in it, but if you're kind of borderline, is it the product? Is it managing more of that process? The 2%, the 2 out of 100 that are winning, what are they doing better than the average dropshipper, do you reckon?
Yeah, so it's probably like all the things that we talk about in so just for context, we're launching a new community soon called the Insiteful Circle. And in this community, right, we talk about all the things that Chris was mentioning, like the product, the price, the processes, protection, blah, 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 blah. There's like 7 other P's that Chris developed, right? So yes, they know how to get a really good profit margin on the stuff that they're shipping. They on their what they're selling, they have really, really good processes so they can actually make this work. They have, really good, pricing structure, the people in the business as well, marketing, it works. But the large part is the people who actually can do drop shipping successful is because they can do shipping quickly, in my opinion, right? So, like, to go back, we use myself as an example. When I did drop shipping, like, 5-10 years ago or whatever it was now, I finished doing it like 5 years ago, and I did it for 20 years. Our drop shippers were literally 5 kilometers away, in the same state, in the same time zone, I could go there and be like, cool, these guys have got a 50,000 square meter warehouse stocked to the roof, and they're a wholesaler. And they don't know how to do retail. Sorry, I just know you like knocked everything off the desk, but they don't know how to do retail. So I'm just like, I'm going to do I'm going to sell stuff to consumer for you. All you got to do is ship it. I'm like, yeah, cool. How long is it going to take you to ship? Oh, we'll ship it out today, tomorrow, whatever. So you could get the order now, and I could, and I build a system that I can literally go, here's the order, send the order straight to the supplier, and they go, hey, Paul, it's been shipped. Come back, and they go, here's the tracking code. So super easy, but it's incredibly hard to do that these days because every man and his goat thinks that he can run a dropshipping business. So in just about every single industry that exists, if you're in the pet industry or you're in the fashion industry or you're in the bloody whatever lawnmower, you sell lawnmowers, first thing people are going to do, they're going to be like, okay, halt for lawnmowers, drop shipper for cat leads, drop shipper for blah, 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 blah. And, all the guys on Amazon, all the guys on eBay, all we're doing is doing that and finding a supplier and putting the stuff on Amazon, putting it on Facebook Marketplace, putting it on Etsy, building an e-com store and going, I'm going to sell it for 5% more than I'm buying it for. And you go, that's a crap margin, that's bugger all. I mean, these guys are probably doing $1 million a month of selling rubbish, but by the time they do it, they've made, 50 grand and they're happy with that, right? But for you to come along and compete with them, like, it's near on impossible, and not to mention these guys have probably spent 50K on their Shopify site and they've probably spent 100 grand on all their automation and blah, 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 blah. So, like, don't get me wrong, you will find opportunities within spaces, so plenty of spaces where there's still opportunity that exists, but you'll do it for like 6 months. Someone will come along with deeper pots and crush you. Like, it's not hard to go on the internet and you kind of plenty sites out there and be like, okay, I'll go into this industry and I can see where the traffic's flowing and I can be like, look at the traffic on that website. It's just going bang. I'm like, what do they sell? Like I looked at a site yesterday, right? And I need to give an example without obviously talking about what the client's doing, but let's assume it was a product, right? Someone sells in their home, and it was to do with like renovating your property, right? So our client sells a product that does that, blah blah blah, and I'm like, this is kind of what you're doing monthly at the moment, right? And again, I'm not going to talk about what the product is because it's a killer product and she can do really well out of it. And I'm like, here's pretty much the only competitor that I can see in the space other than Bunnings and other than these two people. I go, these guys are getting about 500,000 people a month to their website, So for example, like those guys have come along, cornered the market, blah, blah, blah. Look, an example, they're not, clearly I don't think they'll be drop shipping, but she could come along and be like, I'm going to enter that space and I'm either going to buy the product or I'm going to drop ship from someone that sells those products. But again, using my example, those guys can just go, hang on a second, who's this lady? Like, this is what she's doing, blah, 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 blah. I'll go to the supplier. I'll advertise the products on our website. I'll sell them cheaper. Done. You're dead. You know what I mean? Which is why I go back to the start. If you get your own products and you get really good relationships with your own suppliers and you've got a really good community around your business and like in the builder, in that renovation market, you just, go into it and you got a really good product, really good service, you're really good to deal with. You build up a community, build up a following. Over time, you import your own stuff that's actually your stuff with your name on it, so the Chris McQueen bloody decking thing for your deck or whatever. That sounds very wrong, doesn't it? But whatever it is, and you go, oh, cool. It's branded, right? So it's not some rubbish from China that I can go to Alibaba or an eBay and blah, 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 and find the exact same thing because I want that thing, right? So again,
so there's a brand component there as well, right? Distinguishing it in the market so it's somehow different, whether that's through brand or the product itself or having it etched or engraved or it's something that sets it apart from. Like it could be very, very similar to something that comes out the other back door of the same manufacturer, but if it's got something symbolic about it that makes it a bit more iconic or a bit more unique somehow, it's got that's better than nothing.
Yeah, it might be. You might charge more for that same thing that's coming out of Alibaba, but you get like better customer service. You get a 7-year warranty. You get access to our community. You get access to, if you don't love it, we'll give you your money back in 30 days. You get like all these guarantees kind of thing as well. So because it's your brand, you charge more for it. Blah 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 blah. Like all those value adds where people go, I'm going to buy that one. I've heard about that brand before. I'm going to go there. Da, 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 da. Like you'll find people on Etsy, do this quite well, right? So I went on there last night and I seen something that I wanted to buy and had, and I know that I can buy it in a non-branded version, but this one was like, this is the Nepal version of this handmade thing. Da 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 da. We sold like 10,000 of them. I didn't even bother going, and it was like it had a brand associated with it. And I didn't even go looking at eBay or Amazon or blah blah blah. I'm like, I'm buying that one. It's like $200. Happy days. And I sent it to like 3 of my mates, like, you need one of these because you're a bit soft. That's why, that's why I bought it, because it gives you superpowers or whatever it was. It was a cool, funky thing, you know what I mean? So again,
illicit tiger penis on Etsy.
Not really. We might need to bleep. We might need to edit that out so YouTube doesn't demonetize us. So, but that's my point, right? Like I could have gone and bought that rubbish thing from Amazon, and there'd be 600 people saying the same thing. But I chose to go to that people because it did have a bit of a brand, did have a message, did have a story, blah 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 blah, and I'm going to get it in a week. Like it said, ETA shipping, 5 days from wherever it come from. It's not like, it'll be a 4-week wait time, unfortunately, for your product to get you. I don't care. It's too late. I'm not waiting that long. So, I mean, that's the biggest downfall with drop shipping. Crap margins, takes too long to get. You're playing on, you're relying on someone else doing all that
All
for
the
you.
work. Yeah.
All that, yeah, it's too, you're too exposed, basically, is my point.
Mm.
Again, I just want to be clear though, there is 2% of people out there that do really, really well. 99% of you people who watch this episode, you won't be one of them. So if you're gonna
Thank you.
spend your
You
time,
think you mean 98%? You got about
98%.
101% of people there.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, I was really good at maths at school, as you can tell. So, I watched an interview with Elon Musk yesterday, and he kept getting the maths wrong, and I'm like, that's comforting, given that the dude's the richest man in the world, and he kept saying things like, I don't think that adds up properly. So, anyway, if it's okay for him, it's okay for me. So,
Just need his
any
backers.
yeah. So, any questions or anything about that? I mean, it's pretty clear. I just, we get a lot of
Yeah,
people
it sounds
joining our
like
Facebook group.
sounds like lack of control, right? Essentially, you just
Yeah.
don't have the control. When you don't have that control, it's hard to. Like, there's a lot of, if you think of like levers in the business, and if you do everything, you've got 20 levers. If you drop shipping, maybe you got 4 levers, and the 16 levers are being done by someone else, and you can't control them. You can't adjust them. You can't increase the speed of the production. You can't ship it quicker. You can't make it out of a different material. You can't make it better. You can't make it blah blah blah. There's a lot of stuff that you just don't control. Right?
You can, but it's slower. Everything is way slower,
Yeah.
and
So
you
you
can't
don't
be slow.
control it, so it's slower.
Yeah, yeah,
If you're
and you can't.
manufacturing it, you can change it on the fly. Like we have clients that make their own stuff, right? So
Yep.
they can literally go at the back and remanufacture something overnight and go, cool, here's the new version, and put it to market.
Yep.
So that having that ability to quickly iterate on stuff is another bonus, particularly, I guess, when you're getting started to get the right thing or to do customizations. There's a whole lot of stuff that, yeah, it's beneficial if you control as much of it as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Like at the end of the day, there's a good quote. I think it's something like it's, money like speed and momentum. So, you need momentum, you need speed to make a lot of money. So, just super important message that I hope a lot of people get through with watching this episode. Might wrap it up there. I think we don't need to talk about it much longer. People will go, okay. There'll be a certain type of people that'll watch it and be like, oh, that's a challenge. I can see if I'll win. Good luck, and I really do hope you succeed. But take I would also recommend just go do the better thing first. So. Anyway, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Sorry that we went, every episode. Like, let's do a 10-minute episode, turns into a 17.39 second episode. So
we're just doing 17-minute episodes from now on.
Yeah, from now on.
It's the new
give
default.
it a heart, or give it a like, or give it a subscribe, or all of those things. Share it around with your friends. So thanks. See you in the next episode.
Awesome. Catch ya.